Okay, so now that we have concluded this theoretical and in-depth part of vegan culture, we can officially begin to delve into topics relating to the world of vegan food and cuisine. I would like to start by talking about macronutrients and of course their role in a vegan diet. As you may know, macronutrients are the primary nutrients that our body needs in large amount to function properly. And these include carbohydrates, proteins and fats. While all of these nutrients are essential, the sources of these macronutrients can vary depending on one's dietary choices. In a vegan diet, which of course excludes all animal products, it is important to focus on plant-based ingredients to ensure that we meet our essential needs. So now let's break down the three macronutrients in this context. Okay, first let's talk about carbs. Carbs are our body's main source of energy. We can find them in a wide range, in a long list of plant-based foods, including fruits, vegetables, grains and legumes. We can find them in whole grains such as quinoa, oats, brown rice, but also in starchy vegetables such as potatoes, sweet potatoes and also pumpkin. And this type of foods provide a steady release of energy. We can find them also in fruits such as bananas or apples. In that case, they offer quick energy, along with vitamins and minerals. We must say that carbs are also essential to our brain function and they also help to fuel physical activity. So it's very important to assume carbs in a plant-based diet. And my suggestion is to vary as possible as you can the sources of these carbs. Okay, now let's talk about proteins. People think that meat is the best source for proteins, and actually that's not true. Imagine that breast chicken has maybe 12 or 13 grams of proteins for 100 grams of product. Seitan, that is known as the most proteic ingredients in a plant-based diet, has 72-73 grams of proteins for 100 grams of product. Proteins are very important in our diet. They are necessary for building and repairing tissues and also for helping our immune function. But where we can find proteins in plant-based foods? Let's start with the legumes such as lentils, chickpeas and beans. But we have a long list of protein-rich foods such as tofu, tempeh, seitan and edamame. But we can find a large amount of proteins also in nuts and seeds such as almonds or chia seeds. For vegans, it's important to eat a variety of these protein source ingredients to ensure that they're getting all the 9 amino acids, which the body cannot produce on its own. Okay, now the last macronutrient we will talk about today is fats. Fats are essential for cell structure, to produce hormones and to absorb certain type of vitamins. Healthy fats are abundant in plant-based foods. For example, we can find them in avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil and coconut oil. Omega-3 fatty acids, which are very important to our heart health and to our brain function, are found in flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts and avocado. It is also important to highlight that while focusing on macronutrients, a vegan diet offers additional health benefits. In fact, plant-based foods are higher in fibers, antioxidants and phytonutrients, which contribute to heart health, digestive health and disease prevention. In conclusion, we can say that these macronutrients, so carbs, fats and proteins, are essential for a balanced diet. And without a stressful planning, a vegan diet can provide all of these. Okay, now that we talked about the macronutrients, we can go on to the next topic. The essential tools and the essential ingredients that can never be missed in a vegan kitchen. First of all, you should have, of course, pots available, at least 2 or 3 sizes dedicated to different preparations. Essential are the frying pans, especially the wok, that help us to cook vegetables in less time and with a less quantity of oil. But the most important thing that we have to pay attention are the knives. Knives are really important in kitchen, and not all knives are the same. The essential knives to have in a kitchen are, for example, the chef's knife, that is a universal knife, perfect for chopping and mixing herbs and spices. The paring knife, a small and handy knife that is perfect for peeling and cutting vegetables. The serrated knife, which is perfect for cutting bread. And then the Santoku knife, which is maybe the most important knife, the most famous knife that is perfect for cutting vegetables. Regarding vegan cooking, the right equipment that I recommend you to have in a kitchen includes a tofu press, a blender, and a food processor, and an immersion blender. The tofu press is an essential tool to make tofu at home, of course, and it helps us to remove the excess of water and to achieve the perfect consistency of the tofu. A blender is the perfect tools to have silky soup, smooth hummus, and nuts cream, for example, and it also helps us to make the perfect vegan cheese. Of course, just a blender is not enough to make vegan cheese, but is a part of the recipe. A food processor that is useful for chopping very quickly vegetables or for making pestos, and an immersion blender that is useful for making emulsions such as mayonnaise, for example. Okay, now let's move on to the essential ingredients in a vegan diet. As I said before in the previous lessons, the fundamentals ingredients of a plant-based diet are, of course, legumes, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. But nowadays we have the opportunity, the possibility to have a lot of plant-based food in the supermarket, and it helps us to simplify our lives and also are more attractive, maybe I will say, to other people who are still not vegan. So the list of the fundamental ingredients for me must include the legumes, but not only legumes, also the legumes flour that we'll use in the next lessons. With legumes we can make a lot of recipes, from soups to hummus to pasta, and also desserts made with legumes. Then I will also put in this list grains and whole grains, seeds, nuts, plant-based milk, and we must not forget about tofu, seitan, and tempeh. But there is also another ingredient that is very important in a vegan kitchen, in vegan cuisine, and I'm talking about the soy sauce. Also, spices help us to exalt the flavors of foods, but I think that soy sauce gives that umami flavors that is essential for me in a vegan cuisine.